Have you ever had this strange feeling that someone was entering your home when you weren't there? For Alex, that feeling started as a tiny suspicion. But within a few days, it turned into something much more disturbing. And what he eventually discovered changed everything. Alex had just moved into a small apartment in a quiet building. Nothing fancy. Just a simple one-bedroom place that he could afford. The landlord seemed normal at first. Friendly even. The kind of guy who shook your hand a little too firmly and said things like, "If you need anything, just let me know." But after the first week, Alex started noticing something strange. Small things. Things that didn't make sense. One evening, he left a coffee mug on the kitchen counter before going to work. When he came back, it was in the sink.
Clean.
At first, he thought maybe he forgot. Then it happened again. His chair was slightly moved. A window was open that he clearly remembered closing. One day, the bathroom light was on when he returned home. Now, Alex lived alone. So naturally, he started wondering, was someone entering the apartment? But here's where it gets more interesting because the technology isn't actually the main problem. If it was just about having too many digital connections, we'd solve that by going offline more, right? But you probably already know that's not what's happening. You probably already tried digital detox and realized that, yeah, you felt a bit better for 3 days and then the real problem came roaring back. Because the actual issue is something deeper. It's about how the way we form friendships has fundamentally changed, and most people your age don't even realize they're playing by completely different rules than previous generations. See, here's the thing about how friendships used to work. Your parents, your grandparents, they didn't choose their friends the way you do. They kind of defaulted into them. You showed up to school, you sat next to the same kids, you did group projects together, you were forced into proximity. And over time, through repeated exposure and shared experience, friendships just happened. It wasn't strategic. It wasn't intentional. You just kind of ended up being friends with the person who sat next to you in chemistry or the kid on your soccer team. Living room. Then he left for work the next morning pretending everything was normal. For most of the day, Alex tried not to think about it. But when he came home that night, he immediately checked the footage. At first there was nothing. Just hours of an empty apartment. But then, at around 2:17 in the afternoon, the door slowly opened. And someone walked in. It was the landlord.
No knock.
No phone call. No notice. He walked straight into the apartment like he owned the place. Technically, he did own the building. But legally, the apartment was Alex's home. The video showed the landlord walking around the living room, looking at things, opening cabinets, even sitting on the couch for a few minutes. At one point, he actually walked into the kitchen and made himself coffee. Alex stared at the screen in disbelief. This wasn't a quick inspection. This was someone treating a tenant's home like their personal space. But the video wasn't over. A few minutes later, the landlord walked toward the bedroom door. And that's when Alex felt a chill. Because entering a tenant's private living space without permission can be a serious legal violation in many states. Now, Alex had proof. Clear video proof. The next day, he calmly sent the landlord a message. He asked a simple question. "Did you enter my apartment yesterday?" The landlord replied almost immediately.
No.
"I never entered. Must be your imagination." That message alone made Alex realize something important. The landlord wasn't just careless. He was lying. So Alex decided it was time to reveal what he knew. He sent the landlord a screenshot from the security footage. Just one image. The landlord standing in the middle of the living room. The reply came 30 minutes later. This time the landlord sounded very different. He said he had entered for a routine inspection. But Alex checked his lease agreement again. And the law in his state was very clear. Routine inspections still require advance notice, at least 24 hours. And tenants have a legal right to privacy in their homes. So Alex did something many tenants are afraid to do. He stood his ground. He politely told the landlord that entering without notice was illegal and that he had recorded the incident. He also mentioned that if it happened again, he would consider filing a formal complaint.
Aft.
That message, something interesting happened. The landlord stopped entering the apartment. No more mysterious coffee cups in the sink. No more moved furniture. Everything stayed exactly the way Alex left it. And within a few months, Alex decided to move to a different apartment. But the experience taught him something important. A lot of tenants simply don't know their rights. Many people assume that because the landlord owns the building, they can enter anytime they want. But in most places, that's not true. Tenants have legal protections. Your rented apartment isn't just someone else's property. For the time you live there, it's your home. And just like any home, privacy matters. Alex's story isn't unique. Situations like this happen more often than people think. But sometimes, all it takes is knowing your rights and having a little proof. Because the moment someone realizes you understand the rules, everything changes.